Springtime is almost here, so I wanted to throw together some fun Cricut crafts for you guys to do this season. Now, I can't decide if number 4 or number 5 is my favorite because these were all a lot of fun, but stick around to the end to see which one I liked doing the best. And now let's just jump right on into it. The first one I have here, a house picture frame type thing that I grabbed at the Dollar Tree, and I have my SVG file that I grabbed off of Creative Fabrica. Now, if you've been here before, you will know that I love Creative Fabrica. I get almost all of my fonts and graphics there, and if you haven't been there before, you should really go check it out. I'll have all of these linked down below so you can find them easily. Here, this project is so super easy, you guys. I cut this out of vinyl, and most all of the vinyl I'm using today is Tech Wrap vinyl, and along with the transfer tape that I'm using, I have quickly fallen in love with this transfer tape. But as you can see here, I have my file cut out, and I am just going to, after cleaning the surface with rubbing alcohol and drying it really well, finding my middle of where I would like this to go. I like to start in the middle of the vinyl pieces here and then rub from side to side, pushing this down as good as I can, and then taking my scraper tool or my burnisher and rubbing this down really, really well to adhere that vinyl. When you use rubbing alcohol to clean your surfaces, make sure you dry them really well with a lint-free cloth. I like to use coffee filters because they are lint-free, but you want to make sure that you dry them well so that your vinyl sticks down and you don't have any issues of peeling up when you remove that transfer tape. And then saving this piece for later, I am going to grab these tiny little hearts and leaves. And at first I thought I would grab the transfer tape again, but because these are so little and there's only a few of them, I'm just going to remove them like they are little stickers and place them about where I would like them, or you can always refer back to the design itself to see where they were supposed to be. But this really is just a fun, cute little design that I thought was perfect for spring, and I think I might even grab some of the little wood piece cutouts that I also got from the Dollar Tree. They have like little birds and flowers and butterflies. I might paint a few of those and put them up on the top of the house as like a little border or trim just to dress it up a little bit. But really just grabbing this file alone makes for such a fun little project. And it's as easy as that, you guys. This took like less than 5 minutes to throw together. Again, the file is from Creative Fabrica, and this one is done. I really enjoy doing little quick projects like this to dress up my house for all the different seasons. Moving on to the next one, we have some coasters that I got from Michaels. There are 4 in here, and they have the directions on the back for your heat time and your pressing time. Now these are sublimation or infusible ink compatible coasters. So I have my infusible ink pieces cut out, again from Creative Fabrica. I found these files. I thought these were some fun little Easter things. This infusible ink sheets I got are not Cricut. I'll show you in a minute which ones I'm using here, but they are super sticky, which is good because you want them to hold tight to your surfaces. Grabbing these coasters, you can see there are 4 in a pack here, and they also come with the cork that's sticky on one side, so you can stick it on the back when you're finished. I'm going to again clean my surface with rubbing alcohol. That is just good practice for any solid surface when you are adding anything to it. Clean it all off, get all those fingerprints off or any dirt that might have got on them. Out here in my craft room, I have a few outdoor cats that like to wander in every now and then, so I definitely have to make sure I get all the cat hair off. Not that it's a lot, but it's enough for me to notice. Taking this first piece here, after it's dried really well, I'm going to just eyeball where I would like this to go. And I am using Infusible ink transfer sheets that are like a watercolored effect. So these turn out really cute. You guys, I can't wait to show you how these look because the watercolor technique, or not technique, I guess, more like the pattern of it is really kind of cool. Now, after getting all 4 of these down and in place, as you can see up here, my heat press is set and ready to go at 355 for 120 seconds. Sliding some cardstock underneath here, just because you always want to protect your surface when using sublimation or infusible ink, and covering it up with butcher paper to protect your heat press. I'm going to carefully, without sliding around, hold this in place for the full 120 seconds. Now with this easy press too, I find that the heat isn't always consistent throughout the entire press, so I do give it a lot of pressure. Whatever I am doing with this, I give it a lot of pressure just to make sure it gets on there really well, because with infusible ink, you can't go and press it a second time. So you really want to make sure you get it good the first time. Letting this cool off slightly for a few seconds before removing the paper backing, just so that you don't get any ghosting effect, which is like fuzzy shadows on the outlines. This took all the ink, you guys. Rarely do I get a piece where the infusible ink is completely transferred, but that's why I love this brand so much. It always takes all of the ink, and this is the one that I'm using currently off of Amazon. It's Lucky Godness, I think it's pronounced. I just really like this stuff. This is my go-to for infusible ink. Now, clearly I breezed through those last 3. The process was the same. And I just love all the different colors of these coasters. I think they're super cute. Look at all that texture look that you get with these watercolored type transfer sheets. They just turned out so cute. Now, this one was cool enough to the touch that I could flip it over and pull this backing off of the cork and put it onto the backing of this coaster, just to kind of show you how this is done. It's super easy. It's like putting a sticker on the back of the coaster to protect your table, obviously. And this one is finished. I'm not going to do the other 3 at the moment because they are super hot yet, but I will show you them all a little bit closer at the end. And this was a super quick and easy project. See, aren't they so cool? I mean, there's different colors in all of them. I just love this watercolor effect that this ink has. I use this on a lot of stuff. And here's another one that I use this on. It is a t-shirt with the same infusible ink. Now the black on the bottom is Cricut, but the other one is that same watercolor-ish type of technique on that paper. Here's just a 100% polyester shirt that I got off of Amazon. With infusible ink, your products need to be polyester, or at least for shirts have a very high count. So I try to get 100% as much as I can, but it does work as low as about 65. I wouldn't go any lower than that, or you just won't get bright colors. Now my heat press is set to 385 for 40 seconds. I'm going to heat this up and just get out any of the moisture out of this t-shirt before moving on to pressing the ink. Now, like I said before, this heat press is not my favorite, and I actually just purchased and assembled a new heat press, which is a 5-in-1. It's the first time I've had one. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're interested in what those bigger heat presses are capable of. Now inside the shirt, I am putting my pressing pad and a piece of cardstock, because again, you want to protect what's underneath what you're pressing. So I really don't want the spring vibes to go all the way through. Usually when I'm trying to find the center of the t-shirt, I will fold it in half. Same with the piece that I am putting onto the shirt. So this one here, I have a little crease in the middle, and I can line this up with the V-neck a lot easier, so I'm not going to actually fold this shirt in half. But using the 3-finger method down to finding where about the spacing would be, I'm going to stick this down. And again, this Infusible ink, these transfer sheets, they're super sticky, so I don't need any heat resistant tape with this one to hold it down. This is not going anywhere. Then what you're going to want to do is either grab a piece of butcher paper or a Teflon sheet. And I happen to have quite a few of these Teflon sheets, so I'm going to use that to protect my shirt and the heat press. Now, making sure everything is set and all my layers are together with what I need to protect everything, I'm going to take my press and hold this down, again, very carefully, not to shift around, for 40 seconds. I press this one pretty hard as well because I don't have a second chance to press this. So you need to just make sure you get it all good the first time. And then we are going to carefully lift this up so it doesn't shift any of that ink around, because you need to give it a little bit of time to settle into the shirt or whatever you're working on. And then carefully removing this. As you can see, it has already lifted from the shirt. We're going to peel this back and look at those bright colors. I do like this shirt quite a bit. As you can tell, I did press it really hard. You can see the lines from that sticky backing, but that's okay because you can just iron those out and it will be fine. I would rather press it hard than, not be able to use it because it didn't transfer very well. And I love this Infusible ink stuff because my youngest daughter likes to pick all things vinyl, and this prevents her from doing that. So that is amazing. I love Infusible ink. Now, like I said, Project 4 and 5 are definitely two of my favorites. And here I have a glass Libby beer can glass, they're called. And this is a 16 ounce. It has a little bamboo lid and a glass straw that came with it. And I found this file of butterflies on, of course, Creative Fabrica. And I just love this. I need to find a lot of things to put this on actually, because it came as one file for specifically the Libby glass cans. But because it's an SVG file, you can take the parts, you can separate the pieces and come up with new designs using the same butterflies and their outlines. So I am going to take these 3 pieces and I am going to layer them all using these registration marks that I can line up as I put these all onto one piece of transfer tape. That way I only have to apply one thing to the glass. Does that make sense? If not, keep watching because it will be clear as I get moving here. So first you're going to want to take a piece of transfer tape that is plenty big to cover up this entire first layer, which is the largest. This one has the most pieces on it. And with my transfer tape, I always save the backing because you can reuse this stuff over and over. I mean, it is seriously ridiculous how many times I use the transfer tape. It works great. So don't think you need to start a new piece with every project. So taking this, starting in the middle, again, like I said before, and pressing out to the sides, I'm going to scrape this all down to stick it on to that transfer tape. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying transfer tape today. Anyways, it's kind of like saying tech wrap. I have a hard time saying that. Sorry, just a little side note there. And then I'm going to do the same on the top of this, the front and back. I like to burnish down both because then you just get a really good stick to that transfer tape. And again, the glass, I did clean it and dry it really good with rubbing alcohol, and as you can see there to the side, my coffee filter. Now with these registration marks, when I was in Cricut Design Space, I attached them to each separate layer of colors. If you need a better tutorial on how to do that, I have one that I will link up here and down in the description below. But I'm going to take my parchment paper, because nothing sticks to parchment paper, and I'm going to use that in between these layers until I can get them exactly where I want them lined up. This is such a great trick and technique to use when trying to layer multiple layers of vinyl on whatever you're making before just sticking things down. It's kind of tricky to line things up perfectly, and if you've done it before without parchment paper, you know once you stick that vinyl down to the other vinyl, you're done. Like, it's not going, you're not going to pick that up again. So I'm going to here line up these registration rectangles up on the top, and once I get them where I think they're pretty close to being on top of each other, I probably should have had my parchment paper up all the way, because if they stick down before I'm ready, then I'm kind of stuck just putting them where they are. But this one turned out okay. And now, as you can see here, my parchment paper doesn't have any backing underneath it. So the pink layer, because I cut around it to save vinyl, it's not as big as the other one, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take the backing from the first layer of these skinny butterflies and put that underneath there, so that when I take that parchment paper out, these random butterflies that are hanging off will not stick to my mat underneath, right? Because if there's nothing underneath there, that could be a mess, and they might be on my mat forever. So now, after removing that parchment paper, I'm going to slowly tack these down with my scraper tool here. And then once they are all down and in place, I will burnish them down really good. And then I will flip it over and do the same. And then we will be ready to move on to our last layer. So far out of these projects, which one has been your favorite? Have you used Infusible ink before, or is vinyl your favorite type of product to use? I really like using both. I will be honest, I do not care for heat transfer or iron-on vinyl. I find it just not to be my favorite, so I finally splurged and bought a printer to make into a sublimation printer. So if you've been curious about whether or not to make the jump from the Infusible ink to sublimation, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I will be dropping quite a few tutorials on how to use the sublimation. I've been having a lot of fun testing it out on t-shirts I made for spring break for my kids and the cousins, and I'm making a bunch of tumblers for the adults. I can't wait to show you guys all of those things. So yeah, it's getting a little fun in here. I'm having fun with the sublimation, but vinyl is my favorite to use for all different types of products. There's so many things you can stick vinyl on, and it's such a quick and easy project. You can't go wrong with vinyl. Now here, as you can see, I am peeling up those registration rectangles, because you do not want to accidentally put those on your cup. Okay, so take those off. You can either cut them off the top or just peel them off. And then what I'm going to do is take my parchment paper again, and I'm going to leave a little corner on the edge after I get this lined up. You can see here up in the corner, there's a little piece of sticky transfer tape. That is what will hold this in place as I try to remove this parchment paper, and it'll stick down on one little end here. So at the top of this glass, it is kind of rounded. So just be sure that you watch out for that. You want to make sure that this is on the straight part of the glass, and that it is on the whole thing all the way down to the bottom. You want to make sure it doesn't go off the glass on the bottom. And then, as you can see, I am just checking to make sure none of these vinyl pieces are overlapping. Now, the top part looked uneven, but that's because the parchment paper isn't cut straight. It's not because it's on crooked or anything. So after making sure nothing is overlapping, I am going to unroll this again, but keeping that top corner piece still attached to the glass. I'm going to remove this parchment paper so that I can slowly start working this vinyl around the glass. Now, a little of this piece was stuck underneath the glass where that transfer tape was stuck down already, so I kind of had to wiggle that part out before I could move on, but it came out super easy. And then flipping this over and putting that parchment paper back behind it so I could slowly pull it and put this vinyl down at the same time. Sorry, that went really fast. I don't know what happened to the video. But here you want to make sure before you put that last part down that you remove any of the transfer tape from the beginning part that you started with, because otherwise you'll overlap it. And I've done that before, not realizing it, and it was a mess. So go ahead and burnish down those first couple parts of the vinyl to your glass so that you can remove the transfer tape a little ways so that you can put the rest of this down, if that makes sense. Again, I'll have a video linked down below that covers more of how to do this, because that went really fast. I don't know what happened there. I apologize for that. But anyways, you don't want the transfer tape to overlap. So then once you have everything down, you can go around and burnish this all down with your scraper tool really well, and it will be ready to remove your transfer tape. And this project, I love these butterflies, you guys. Like I said before, I need to find more springy things to do with these butterflies. I don't know, what would you put them on? I think these are super cute. And this vinyl that I'm using, it's all tech wrap. And the top layer where it's just the outline, it is their bubble-free mirrored vinyl. That's a mouthful, but that's what it is. And this stuff is amazing. It is super metallic-y looking, and there are never any bubbles in this vinyl. So I like this stuff a lot. This glass turned out super cute. I can't wait to gift it to someone. Maybe my mom, I don't know who I'll give this to yet, but I really do love this project. These are so easy and fun to make, and you can dress these up for all the different holidays. And I need to go make some more butterfly things. So that leads us right into number 5. Now, these little espresso cups that stack in this rack, I picked up at Hobby Lobby. These were on sale. I think originally they're like 15. I picked them up for 10. I would go get more of these. These are super cute, and I thought this would look fun next to my coffee maker on my coffee stand. So again, cleaning everything off with rubbing alcohol and making sure that they're dried really well. I am going to take some vinyl, and again, I used that same butterfly SVG for some of these. I pulled out the butterflies that I wanted, and on another cup I have some tulips that were also part of that, and a few other flowers that I found on Creative Fabrica. And I am using a lot of that same purplish colored bubble-free mirrored vinyl. Now, placing this on my burnishing tool, which if you didn't know what these two little bumps are for, these notches down that longer tool, it is to hold your round things while you're working, so it's not rolling all over your table. And these are just some super quick, fun little decals that you can add onto your mugs, and it's just fun to dress up a little bit more. So I am just going to burnish this down on both sides, and then removing the backing, I am going to place this on the mug. And now this mug does have, like, where the two colors are, there is like a little bump there around the edge, around the middle of it. So I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to put this so that it doesn't cause any problems with this vinyl overlapping that, but it didn't seem to cause any problems in any of these cups. But just be mindful of that if there's any little skinny pieces or something. But again, this is bubble-free vinyl, so these all stick down really well. And after letting things like this and that glass sit for about 48 hours, you are good to go to use these. They will be fully secured. Just make sure you hand wash stuff. Don't be sticking it in the dishwasher is what most people will tell you. Don't ask me because I still stick stuff in the dishwasher and I haven't had any problems. But market standard, people will tell you, don't put your vinyl in the dishwasher because it won't last. So do what you want. That's what I say. Test it out if you want. But this is such a super simple little project, and I am going to breeze through the last 3 here because the process is the same. I just burnish down the vinyl and then stick on these tiny little pieces and keep applying them to these mugs until they are all finished. Now, I don't know where you're from, but I live in the Midwest, and this year especially, we have had the weirdest weather. So our spring usually isn't this early. Like when I'm filming this, it is March, and we have had a crazy spring already where we could have a snowstorm tomorrow, but one day it's 60, the next it's 30, so these spring colors are really starting to cheer me up, and there is hope that spring will be here soon and quickly turn into summer. That's just the way things go around here. I love summer, and I am already starting to think about projects I can do for that, for all of our outdoor parties that we have and time we spend at the lake. So I don't know, what's your favorite season? Where are you from? Have you had a weird winter, spring as well? I'm ready for a consistent weather. That's more like what I should say. Here in Wisconsin, weather is not consistent. So I really love these butterflies. I know I've said that before, but I'm going to say it again. What else should I put these on? Let me know in the comments. What would you use these cute little butterflies on? What colors would you make your butterflies? These little cups are so cute. I am gonna go make some espresso and start using these, and I just think they're adorable. I might have to go back to Hobby Lobby and see if they have some more, because I would love to gift these out to some other people that I have in mind. My husband saw these sitting at our coffee bar and was like, "Where'd you get those?" I said, "I made them." He didn't believe me. Well, physically didn't like make the cups, but I'm like, the little vinyl, it's such a super simple process. Like I said, you can dress up anything. Now, these projects here that we did today, they were all super fun and easy. I hope that this gave you a few ideas of things that you could do for spring. And if you haven't been over to Creative Fabrica, I'll drop that link down below where you can go check it out. I prefer that over Cricut Access. I know, there I said it out loud. If you're looking for more Cricut crafts, check out this video that's coming up next.